Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald's Blood Pact. The only thing stopping two of the most powerful wizards of all time engaging in the most legendary duel of all time. But what exactly is the Blood Pact, and can it be destroyed? So welcome back to the channel, guys. The Blood Pact was introduced in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, and it left us with so many questions because it was quite vague. The second movie never went really into too much detail, but now a brand new Secrets of Dumbledore scene has been released, where Dumbledore explains more about the Blood Pact and how exactly it stops him moving against his former ally, the man he loves, and who he considered closer than a brother. So let's break this all down, but as always, before we start, if you're a fan of Fantastic Beasts, Harry Potter, and the Wizarding World, make sure you subscribe. So what is the Blood Pact? Like I said, it was introduced in The Crimes of Grindelwald as a pendant carried by Gellert Grindelwald. But the film would later reveal this pendant was actually the physical manifestation of a binding magical agreement between Dumbledore and Grindelwald to never fight each other. Because as teenagers in the year 1899, they performed a ritual by cutting their palms with their wands, then reaching out, holding on to one another's hand, closing their eyes, and swearing their oath to each other. Their drops of blood would rise up, join into one, glow, and then manifest as a vial, and thus the Blood Pact was sealed, and both wizards were bonded. And this is why Dumbledore could not move against Grindelwald, and why Grindelwald needs Credence to fight Dumbledore in his stead. And you'll notice Grindelwald cares deeply for this item. He kept it on his person after retrieving it from Yakuza, and when he was disguised as Abernathy, he was reluctant to hand it over to Rudolf Spielman, but he made sure to retrieve it during his escape from Yakuza. He wasn't really bothered about rescuing Abernathy, but he had to get back his most prized possession. But towards the end of the movie, Teddy the Niffler managed to steal it from Grindelwald during the chaos of the fires of Paris, and now Newt Scamander has given it to Albus Dumbledore, who seeks to destroy it. So ultimately he can join the fight and defeat Gellert Grindelwald once and for all. But perhaps it might not be that straightforward, because Dumbledore isn't too sure if he can actually destroy it. So why did Dumbledore and Grindelwald create this Blood Pact? Well, as Dumbledore says, he loved Grindelwald, that's why. It's likely he wanted them to be bound forever and to never fight each other. At this point, Dumbledore was at his lowest. Both his parents are dead, and he's the sole guardian of his siblings, Aberforth, and likely Obscurial, Ariana. He graduates Hogwarts with the best grades, he has all his potential, but he's stuck as a guardian for his two siblings. He's stuck in Godric's Hollow, whereas he should be out there, exploring the world, showing off his greatness. But then comes a young boy named Gellert Grindelwald. He fell for Grindelwald, and he also fell for his ideals of wizarding dominance. And Dumbledore was easily manipulated by him. And in the Harry Potter books, he admits deep down that he always knew what Grindelwald was really like, but he was blinded by love. And as for Grindelwald, it's likely he was the one that came up with the idea of the Blood Pact. I've always felt he did love Dumbledore in return, but he also wanted a failsafe just in case him and Dumbledore were on the opposite sides of this war. Because I've always felt no matter how much Grindelwald loves Dumbledore, he also is set on this goal of wizarding dominance. And Dumbledore was by his side until tragedy struck and Ariana was killed in the infamous three-way duel between Albus, Aberforth, and Grindelwald. The duel itself is mostly a mystery, but many believe the Blood Pact was somehow involved in Ariana's death, and I think it's highly possible. As we saw in the brand new scene, when Dumbledore thinks of defying Grindelwald, the Blood Pact attacks. It wraps itself around his wrist, around his forearm, even around his neck, grinds itself into the wall. It's hurting him, it's punishing him. It's highly possible it attacked Dumbledore in the past when he tried to defend Aberforth from Grindelwald's Cruciatus curse. And in the heat of the moment and the relentless agony, someone killed Ariana. And I'm sure in Crimes of Grindelwald, Dumbledore already has a scar on his forearm from a previous encounter with the Blood Pact. Just look at Dumbledore's reaction to revisiting the creation of the Blood Pact in the Mirror of Erised, when Newt Scamander gives him it back on the Hogwarts bridge, and when he shows it off to Theseus. This Blood Pact means a great deal to Dumbledore, but also to Grindelwald. And when he meets Dumbledore in the new restaurant scene, he asks to see it, and he says sometimes he imagines feeling it around his neck, and he asks Dumbledore how it feels around his. And the Blood Pact for me is a very interesting concept, because it kind of represents their love, and all the pain it's caused. It's a prime example of a toxic relationship. So yeah, I suppose the Blood Pact is very similar to an unbreakable vow, or a binding magical contract. But the sharing of the blood just feels much more personal. And that's why I think it suits the relationship between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. And even the Albus Dumbledore of 1927 was unsure if he could destroy the Blood Pact. It's very powerful magic, and it's not something you see every single day. Newt and Theseus did recognise it, but they also seemed surprised to actually witness one in person. And Theseus, as the head Auror, even admits not having much experience of blood pacts. It's likely very complicated and very dangerous. We can see it's filled with all manner of protection. It almost feels alive, as we can see in the new scene, where it activates and harms Dumbledore when he thinks of defying Grindelwald. So the pact goes much further than simply not allowing wizards to fight. Even mere thoughts of betrayal are enough to cause the Blood Pact to harm Dumbledore. Like I said, we can see it wrap itself around his forearm and then go for his neck, grind itself into the wall of the Hogshead Inn, causing Dumbledore great pain until he removes the thoughts of betrayal from his mind. So that leaves me with the question, does the Blood Pact only work when it's in possession of Dumbledore and Grindelwald, when they actually own the pendant? Like, honestly, it is very vague. I think the film or the screenplay might need to explain that one. And I've also got the question, why didn't the Blood Pact attack Grindelwald in the second movie when he spent the entire movie thinking about manipulating Credence into killing Dumbledore? He even asks one of his acolytes, Kral, if he's willing to go to Hogwarts to kill Dumbledore, if he asked him. Why didn't the Blood Pact react to them thoughts of defiance? Is it a plot hole? Am I overthinking this? Or perhaps as Grindelwald spent that much time around the Pact, he knows its ways and how it works, perhaps linked to his skills of occlumency. He's able to shield his mind from the Blood Pact. But the new restaurant scene does confirm that it has attacked Grindelwald before. But now the Blood Pact is in Dumbledore's possession. I do believe Dumbledore wants to destroy the Pact, but at the same time a part of him deep down still loves Grindelwald. So destroying this Pact is kind of like destroying their love. He even calls the Blood Pact beautiful. But destroying it means he can face Grindelwald and stop his plan for wizard dominance. Stop the war against the Muggles. But it also means destroying their bond, something I believe is very scary for Dumbledore. But can he physically destroy the Pact? He didn't seem so sure in the last film, and I think it's confirmed now, but this movie seems to be set in 1932, 5 years after the crimes of Grindelwald, and the Blood Pact's still around. Either Dumbledore has failed to destroy it, or he's been keeping it in his drawer at Hogwarts, or inside the Mirror of Erised, trying to ignore it. But I think he has failed to destroy it, because it's just far too powerful, and it's meant to not be destroyed. I don't think it can be destroyed by ordinary magic or brute force. Perhaps the Blood Pact needs to be destroyed like a Horcrux, damaged to a point beyond all physical or magical repair. But here's what I think. There's one of three ways the Blood Pact will be destroyed. First, either with the Elder Wand, which can perform feats of magic that other wands cannot, such as repairing other wands. And there's loads of debate right now who the master of the Elder Wand is, but I'm not going to get into that. The wand is currently in Grindelwald's possession, but the last thing he wants is the destruction of the Blood Pact. So perhaps they trick him into destroying the Pact? He casts a spell at someone and it manages to hit the Blood Pact or something. Honestly, I don't think that's how it's going to go. I'm not really a fan of too many Elder Wand shenanigans, but it is worth thinking about. Second, and more likely, is Credence and his obscurial powers. Aurelius Dumbledore is insanely powerful, even with very little training. And his Obscurus has been kind of the main plot of the last two movies, and it would fit, and it'd be so ironic, if it was Credence and his powers that were able to destroy the Pact. Grindelwald spends all this time manipulating him into being a weapon against Dumbledore, and it's that very same power that destroys the object that keeps Grindelwald safe from Dumbledore. Third, and most likely, some sort of shenanigans involving Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Somehow they're going to be forced to fight when they don't want to harm each other or something. Perhaps the Blood Pact's destroyed because they have to fight, but it's not about wanting to fight each other, or harming each other, or defying each other. Honestly, I cannot really say, I am unsure, but the Blood Pact has to go. Their legendary duel of 1945 is still a few years away, but like I said, we see them in the trailer fighting. So it's possible the Blood Pact goes as early as this movie. And I think that opens a lot of doors, because I feel the Blood Pact holds back the characters of Dumbledore and Grindelwald. It forces the story to find ways for Dumbledore to get Newt and others to work for him. And that's not what we want. We want to see these wizards fight. So I think the Blood Pact has to go, but I hope it's done in the right way. Even without the Blood Pact, this is a global war with complicated issues. and Dumbledore still loves Grindelwald. Dumbledore wants to bring him down, but he doesn't want to harm the man he loves. So there you go, guys. I know it was a long one, and there's a lot of theories and speculation, but I promise you guys a Blood Pact explainer video. But I want you guys to post your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Because guys, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I feel that Dumbledore and Grindelwald's relationship is the most interesting part of this series. I've been wanting to know the full story ever since the Deathly Hallows, or even as far back as the Philosopher's Stone, when Grindelwald's name was mentioned in Dumbledore's chocolate frog card. But I think that'll do it for today, so make sure you subscribe to get more Fantastic Beasts videos. Less than a month to go, can't wait, and I've got a lot of videos to come. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you soon.